We have had the most disgusting weather. It has been raining just in a way that's flooding out our pathways. As you can see, these were 4 inches deep with mulch. And now look. Thanks, Henry. Great. Note to self, wipe Henry's feet. Okay, so here's the thing. When you've got a garden this big, you know what? It doesn't matter the size. If weather has been slowing you down and keeping you out of your garden, you're going to find that if you don't get yourself up, get an umbrella, do whatever it is you have to do to get out here, you're going to find damage that is hard to recover from. And I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. We've gotten so much heavy rain that we've got mushrooms everywhere. Now, generally speaking, they don't cause much. But if you look at the leaves, these are cucumbers. These are going through it. And this is simply from horrific weather. When you get heavy downpours and they are consistent and you're not able to get out into this garden and watch for damage to your leaves and to replace, and this is very, very important, replace the nutrients that are lost because they're being washed down into the ground. They're going away from our plants. They're going away from our root balls. And so it is very important that we replace the nutrients that are being essentially washed away. If you remember, I told you I throw seeds into empty spaces. And here they come. I had just a ton of purple basil seeds. I throw them in. I throw them in and amongst my tomatoes because the pests really don't enjoy the smell. And they do a great job. I don't have to dig them in. They just pop up wherever they landed. They're delicious, and they do double duty because they work for me. Have you ever seen a ground cherry? These are ground cherries. They're pretty easy to grow, and they're really delicious. You can make wonderful preserves with them. The only way I have ever known to know when they're ready to ripen, ready to harvest, is that they fall off and they fall down right below. So it's very important that you don't do what I did and just stay inside and hide from the weather because you'll lose your ground cherries. Thankfully, these have not started to fall yet. Growing watermelon, very easy to do, but they're heavy feeders. So you want to make sure that you're giving them all the nutrition they need. Now, this was damaged, if you look. See, it's split. The weather. And you see the ants already running through here. So I'm going to actually grab this. I'm going to cut it open and give it to the chickens. We are fully organic. We do not use sprays or anything else. So I have to physically come out and be the main deterrent between that and our companion planting and so forth. That is what we use to try to control pest pressure. But we've had weather that is so severe that I broke my own rule and I did not come out because it was pouring and thundering and lightning and I just didn't feel it. And as you're about to see, I pay the price. So we're going to grab, as you can hear, the geese have plenty to say. We're going to just real quick run through this garden before the rain comes back and murders me again. The rain has been absolutely horrific. But if you let your cucumbers produce on you and you don't harvest them, well, you're done. It will start, it'll just, and you see this is disease. Now these, luckily, I've started new ones because this always happens about this time. When you get a tremendous amount of rain, this is what happens. But she's still putting out for us. Haha, she's putting out, that's funny. Okay, so, but you have to move every leaf because they hide. Until the growing season is completely over. So I just keep planting. You see, I have more there. I just let them keep coming. Don't let it stop until the growing season is over. That's That'll be for tomorrow. Okay. Aren't they beautiful? These are zinnia. Absolutely beautiful, but I can't remember their name. Uh-oh. Okay, so now what I know I see here is damage. You see this? All the leaves here have been chewed off. You see? Here are the same. So what does that mean? That means that here there is a tomato hornworm, and I see it. But here is what you're looking for. You see the poop? See the poop right there? That black dot? So you know nearby is going to be a tomato hornworm. And there it is. Get off. These do a shocking amount of damage. And look at the size of it. But what I like to do is offer them as a sacrifice to the birds. Here, enjoy. For this reason, even in bad weather, you have got to come out and walk your plants. It is absolutely imperative. And the thing you can do to make sure is to look for that damage that I just showed you, because they are the same color as the plant. And if you are not keeping an eye out for that kind of damage, looks just like that, they can take your plant down in a day. If I hadn't found that based on the size of that plant, the size of that tomato hornworm, I would have come out here the next day and found nothing. I would have found a bald plant. And look at we've got, look how pretty they are. Those are our figs. And these are the green stalk vertical gardens. And look how beautifully herbs grow in these. They thrive. And I don't just have herbs in here. You'll see here I have eggplant. In fact, I know I had an eggplant that was just about ready to come off, and there it is. Look at our little friend here. Should have grabbed a knife. Oh, there we go. There it is. Japanese eggplant. And here's a baby. Do you see? I mean, we are overrun. And it's only been a couple of days that we've been storming so hard that I haven't been able to come out and check. This is ridiculous. I mean, look at my beautiful tomatoes. They're all out here minding their own business, and we're just being overrun with these god-awful creatures. This is a tomato hornworm. I will find a picture of what they look like as in their moth form, so you can know to look for them, because they're the devil. There we go. There we go. Exactly. Eat it. Oh no, you're not going to fight over the one. Oh, there we go. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Soup's on. That's what you get coming in my garden. And that's the end of that. Green stalk came out with these little cups. And when you've got runners off of your mature strawberry plant, they put out runners. That's how they continue to grow their babies. And you just put some soil in the little cup. This is what they look like. And there's a drainage hole in the bottom. And you clip them down. And those runners, they look like this when they're not seeded yet. This one I'm going to seed right there. But you see, this is what they look like. And you root them, and you end up with brand new plants. And then you can just, once the plant has established itself with roots, here's another, you can clip what I call the umbilical cord, and you have a new plant. And you just keep going. And that's how you can stay in strawberry production. And they're everywhere, you see? These strawberry cups are really a great thing. And Greenstock came out with these really cool pins that are so pretty. They look like butterflies. I ordered them. The order didn't get here yet. But what I've been using, this is a landscape staple, which is not nearly as nice as what Greenstock created. So I'm pretty excited about that. I know so many people figure vegetable gardens are for vegetables. No, fill them in, plant it in, fill it in. This should be a place you love. Unfortunately, right now, they're a place tomato hornworms and every other demon seems to love too. This is my own fault. I broke my rule. I am supposed to come out here with an umbrella and suck it up. But did I? No, I did not. The thunder and lightning made me feel terrible. Look at this mess. Look at this. This is appalling. Heavy wind, so there's damage, there's stuff blown all over the place. It is what it is. But I caused a lot of this damage by not keeping my rule. Grab the umbrella, put on a pair of boots, and suck it up. I say that to everybody, and I usually say it to myself. And another thing that happens because I didn't do that is the heavy rain causes your fruit to split. So a lot of my tomatoes have split. So I cannot harvest them. They're gone. I just end up giving them to the chickens, or I drop them in place and they become next year's volunteers. So, I mean, is it the end of the world? No. I have so many plants. That will not be the main issue. But if you don't have a garden this big, or you're just concerned about, it's wasteful. It really is. It's my own fault. Oh, look, another one. You see that moth that just went by? That's going to be the bane of my existence in about 10 days. Look at the damage. Curled up leaves, absolutely miserable. Absolutely miserable. Now that I couldn't do anything about. That's simply Mother Nature won this round, and that's just the way it is. But I mean, the plants are falling over. So I have to come out here and retie, and it's important. It is important to make sure that you reapply your ties and your supports, because if you don't, everything will fall over and they will just lay on top of each other and they will just die of fungus and see? Look at that. Now I have to come through here and prune all of this away. Now the key, don't use the pruner and then go on to the next plant. Carry a little cup with you with a little bit of peroxide in it and water, and just dip your pruners so that you're not spreading this disease to the next plant. When I told you it's raining and you get so much water, the plant, your fruit can't take it, and it will split just like this. Now there's nothing to do. There's nothing to be saved here. So why not just take it off the plant so the plant is not still working to keep this alive, because the plant doesn't know that it's split and it's of no use to us. So I've already thrown a whole bunch of them you see down here. Those will be volunteers for next year. These will go over into the barnyard. But I have, I don't know, but probably 15 pounds of split fruit because I broke my own rule. I am so annoyed with myself, I can barely stand myself. I know better than this. But I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and tell you that this didn't happen. This happened, and it's my fault. Look at this. Just a disaster. That's gross. Everything about that's gross. The tomato hornworms are massive. And if you don't come and get them off your plants, by the time you do come out, the damage they've done can be catastrophic. They can eat a very healthy, huge tomato plant. Look at this. It's just fallen over, big giant blank space here because that was the plant that was here. But the wind knocked it all over, right out of my ties. Fantastic. I tie my ground cherries up. I like to make sure that I can get enough airflow, especially in horrible weather. Because again, what you'll end up with is fungus and mildew, and it's just awful. So you see, I have them staked and I have them lifted right up off the ground. And it also makes it much easier to harvest. And if you're, you've got a back like mine, you want to make sure that anything... Are you serious right now? Hi, Tito. How you doing? How you feel about this weather? Oh, that street sign, that was from when we owned our very first house. And I'll tell you a story. My neighbor, who was so sad to see us leaving, stole it from the end of the street. And she said, I threw a surprise in your truck. And when we got to Louisiana, this was in the truck. We've taken it with us everywhere ever since. There you go, Tito. The peppers are absolutely loving this weather. Now these, they turn red if you leave them on the vine, but they're also really quite delicious, just like this. And what you do is you either roast them or you saute them very slowly in a garlic olive oil. And you serve them on sliced toasted bread. It is absolutely fabulous. You can do lots of other things with them, but these peppers are so good. Italian frying peppers, absolutely great. What we've got growing here, let's see if we can move that so you can see, cherry peppers. I adore them. I pickle them, I ferment them, and I stuff them. And they are so good, stuffed with a little sharp provolone wrapped with prosciutto. And you stuff them and you serve them after they've been pickled, and these will turn red. They don't get harvested this way. Let's see if we got one here. Yeah, you can see the size. Now that's a full size, so it'll start to turn red, excuse me. And we harvest that, we take the seeds out, and we stuff them. After they've been pickled, and they make a wonderful little appetizer on a meze platter. Here, I'll show you a mistake I made, because I'm a putz. I accidentally had a tomato in with a pepper. Now when I planted this, I didn't see it. That's how tiny it was. So now in one container, there's a tomato and pepper growing together. There's no way that that's gonna go well. But I figured the damage is already done. Let's see what happens. So that's an experiment. I just saw a red one. Here, let me show you. Wait a minute, look how tiny that is. Okay, that one is super tiny, and it's on the same plant as this. Look how ridiculous that is. But when you see these striations on a pepper, that's your warning. Number one, this is older, obviously. But if this were a very hot pepper, which this one isn't, but when you see these striations, look out. That pepper can be very, very hot. If you're sensitive, avoid the ones with the striations. What you really should do is just harvest them sooner. But I've already admitted I was hiding from the weather like a jerk. You can tell that your plants are in need of a boost of nitrogen when you see how yellow and light. These are supposed to be a beautiful dark green. And they're not, because the heavy rain washed it away. This is the time to feed blood meal. If you feel like you're even more desperate, like your plants are just looking blanched and really, really sad, this is fine for blood meal. Tito, can you give it a rest? You would want to switch to a liquid fertilizer because the uptake is faster. But because we have so much rain, I prefer to use a powder, I prefer to use a powder. That way, it's not just going to wash away if this weather continues. That's the cost if you use a liquid fertilizer. It works fast, but it also will wash away. Whereas if you're using a blood meal and a bone meal and things like that, it does not. One of the things I wanted to bring to your attention is this time of year, everything is starting to really come in heavy. The flowers are beautiful, all that good stuff. But we want to start to plan for what's going to come next. What you have here are sunflowers, and I have, 5 or 6 different varieties. And I have tucked seeds throughout this garden, front and back, so that as the summer flowers start to fade, we will be going into September and October with a beautiful display of sunflowers. This is the time. Elderberry. We had our elderberry blooms. I showed them to you in the last tour, but now here we are. When these are darker, uh-oh, do you see that? Look who's on there. We are overrun. You see them? Here and here. Go away. So I showed you the elderberry when it was in bloom, and here is what they look like when they change over from flowers and they start to make their berries. And this is what they look like. They're absolutely beautiful when they start to ripen. Now, this particular variety that I have here, I'll know these are ready when they're very, very dark. These are not ready, but they are truly beautiful. And I make vinegar with these. I make tinctures that get us through cold and flu season. This stuff is an incredible plant, but please be warned, if you decide to put it in, it runs and it shows up where you did not put it. I will warn you in advance. So if that's going to bother you, you're going to want to start pulling them up when you see them show up. These are a sweet melon. Right now, I just can't remember the name. I apologize. I will try and grab it before I edit this. I plant all of anything that vines this way, my melon, my watermelon, all that stuff, cantaloupe, honeydew, I plant them in the corners of my raised beds because they do beautifully. They don't take up room in here and bother anyone. They spill out, so they really aren't in the way, and they're able to get their needs met while giving my family a really nice variety of fruit. I don't bother vining them. I don't bother trellising them because we keep getting winds that are so heavy that it's knocked my trellising down 3 times. I'm done with it. I'm just letting them live here. When I find a nice fruit, I will stick a nice collection of hay, straw, whatever underneath to protect the bottom of the fruit. As you can see, because of the heavy rain, that's not going to stop the fruit from splitting. There's nothing that can be done about that, unfortunately.